age of Alderaan has ended. No more microtransactions. Follow me, and you will never pay for dinos again. Rise up! Hi. I think it's appropriate that we talk about a certain situation in the Path of Titans community right now. So, as many of you know, on December 22nd, like 10 p.m., I think, for Americans, the devs decided to release Tyranno Titan, but instead of actually making it a playable that was hyped up to be just a nice little surprise dino, they hid it behind a goddamn paywall. So, now we're here yelling, and eventually, after about 2 hours, the devs give in. Now, there's a lot I want to unpack here, but first of all, I need to make one thing clear. I do not condone or support the people who sent death threats and suing, because that is beyond just games. That is like real life. You gotta understand that. And the people who do that, well, you don't deserve to have this game, plain and simple. Like, if you're willing to just ruin someone's day for a dumb dev decision, that's on you. Don't tell me what they'll think of you once you get out into real life. Are you gonna punch someone? We'll see. Either way, besides that, while the actions of many people in the community were not acceptable, what is also not acceptable is the thought process behind what the devs did. And I do mean that because trying to put a microtransaction in an early access game. I mean, this isn't some kind of like skin pack. Like the devs have had that for years. I mean, not years. I think it's like months. I should know. It's been at least a year, yeah. And we've been okay with that because skins are not a necessary part of the game. This dino is, and I've tested Tyranitar, and it's pretty good, like really good. Its bite like deals almost as much bleed as like an aloe claw, like one bite, an apex bite. That's spammable and very easy to aim. So yeah, it's good. Point is, if this dino was from behind a paywall, it would have been quite frankly, pay to win, arguably. You could say that. I mean, the rest of the Apexes kind of suck in comparison to it, mainly because they have no abilities, but I mean, objectively speaking, like, it's a whole new class with a bunch of new abilities, and that therefore can open up a lot more opportunities for people who have money versus those who don't. Now, you might be thinking, well, it's only $7, and yeah, that is fair. And arguably, anyone who spent $30 in this game could have bought it, but the money is not what's important. I've seen people in the Discord say, "Oh, I'm so glad that it wasn't me who was whining about not having the money when I already spent money on the Dino game." No, that's not what I care about. And I'm willing to bet that most people who criticize the devs, well, the death threats excluding, obviously, um, also know that. What we care about is essentially the thought process behind it, which is what I talked about in the beginning. And the thought process is essentially you cannot expect an early access game that you promised that you would never add microtransactions. And I have a few screenshots here, so I'll show you. And as you can see, Matt here clearly says that he'd never add microtransactions, and he even goes in the depth of what a scammy game would look like. It involved t-shirts and, more importantly, at the very bottom, microtransactions in an early access game. And basically, back then it was kind of a Day of Dragons joke, but now it's kind of come back to bite Matt in the ass after he basically went back on his word. So now I'm just left here looking at all the messages. And, well, eventually they make it free. And that's quieted down the community a lot. However, I want to make sure that this doesn't happen again, because this is a pretty scary precedent. And I do mean that because I know this sounds weird, but coming from someone who grew up with Pixel Gun, I know what happens when you go too far down the pay to win route. I mean, I used to love that game, but now it's just like don't even play it. If you don't have like 200 plus bucks to burn, you're not gonna get very far. And I kind of realized that, and that's why I left. And I know it's a dumb kids game that's a knockoff, a Minecraft knockoff, but still, point is, pay to win doesn't end well usually. And even in the dinosaur survival genre, Ark Survival Evolved. That one, yeah, that one's famous for it. And remember, and Day of Dragon itself. Well, that's not even a dinosaur related, but I mean, That's basically the villain of any survival game because the devs just scammed everybody. Nothing really came out of it other than just a bunch of taking money. That's it. I get it. Tyranno Titan in Path of Titans is actually a good playable. Sure, it's a little overtuned with its bleed and its bite. Like I said, it probably shouldn't have that much bleed for a 1 second bite cooldown. But I really do mean this when I say this, that for what it's worth, it was nice getting this. And now that the devs have made it free, I am happy to say that at least they made a good playable. So I'm here today since the devs have seemed to have at least learned for the time being that this should not happen again. Now, there's a common consensus among the community that I am agreeing with now that once the game reaches full release, then the devs can start adding DLC style new dinos that you have to pay for to get. And that's fine. I get it. As much as the crowdfunding will give, this game has been alive for, I mean, I think almost 5 years, no, more than 5 years, I think, yeah. And I get it. You might need more money for that, and maybe skins aren't enough. That's fine. But that's in the far future, and you guys have not made nearly as much progress as you need to justify that. Still, around half of your roster is missing a ton of abilities. I mean, I can name off the very core dinos that have this problem: Mallow, Barsboldia, Campto, ironically. Fowl? Yeah, that one. The bird that nobody cares about other than when it screams and, makes everyone's day worse. That one. Yeah. Until you get all that done and you can say your game is actually complete, you really don't have a right to say that you can make these pay to play microtransactions. Once you do, I can understand it more because you might need the funding, and that's fine. The money itself is not the problem, again, it's the mentality, and especially now, whenever the game is in early access and developing, where people are expecting to just calm down and have some fun. This is not a healthy mentality. So, Matt, I do apologize in advance for all the death threats that were sent to you. Apparently, there was a lot, but I really do mean this when I say this. Please don't do this again. And I'm not the one with, I didn't send any death threats to you, just for the record, but I really do hope that the dev team can learn from this. Sorry if I sounded harsh. I don't think. I just sounded depressed in this one, I think. But either way, I think it is better if everyone can just learn from this and hopefully not go too angry about this. But everyone should learn. That's what I think. Good day.